Welcome to season 12, episode 8 of Third Song In with Chris Derrickson and Tom Polacek. We hope you enjoy our interview with Washington University alumnus and music aficionado Phil Shelton.
Phil Shelton is a Washington University alumnus. He is the national sales executive for Vomela Printing. He's also found himself involved recently in the promotion and support of the Winnetka Music Festival, which will take place this year on June 19 and 20 in downtown Winnetka, Illinois. Welcome to the show, Phil.
Thank you for having me. Good to see you guys.
You
Hey,
too.
good to see you, man. It's been a
Yeah,
while.
it has been.
When we say you're a Washington University alumnus, it doesn't explain just how well we know you. We all went to school together. We were all in the same fraternity.
Yep.
You and I played football for the Battling Bears. So I did not mean to gloss through your bio so quickly, but that's the point of this. We want to fill in some gaps.
Well, we forgot the fact that Phil and I probably got drunk together once or twice. Those are my main things with Phil.
Like once or twice, I think.
How many times were the police involved is what I want to know.
Not
You
often.
know, uh, I think statute of limitations hasn't covered me yet, so I'm gonna claim the fifth here.
We'll just keep it quiet. Well, I'm gonna be brutally honest here and tell you that probably for the first 2 years that I knew you, I was really, really intimidated by you, and I think it was a
I hear
football
stories
thing.
about this.
Yeah. So for the listener, Phil's actually 1 year older than Chris and I. He was a sophomore when we were freshmen. You were starting on defense for the football team your sophomore year, correct?
Freshman year too.
Freshman year too, yeah, yeah. I definitely. So when I came in, you were a starter, and of course we had a young team, and there were a lot of sophomores that started.
Mhm.
But
Yep.
you were what's the best word to say here? You were a fucking maniac on the field. And everybody's a little different on the football field than they are in person. But it took me a while to be sure you were different because I was always afraid you just might haul off and hit me and drive me into the ground like I saw you do in practice, in games, all that kind of stuff.
Well, if tequila was involved, all bets were off.
Yeah.
I didn't know it
Okay.
was this bad until I got a book from Andy Armstrong, our good buddy and fraternity brother too, and it was the Disney villains book, like a little kid's book. And at the very end, there was Ming the Merciless.
That's
I
all.
think he changed it to Phil the Merciless. I didn't realize it was that bad. I do apologize.
I do remember though, like the freshman players, like all of us sitting around after a practice or even maybe before practice and talking about how we just didn't want to get on your bad side. And you weren't the only one. I mean, there were a couple other players. Mike Locko was one of those guys. He
Yeah.
was a senior when I was a freshman. I mean, there were guys that were just intimidating, and it just. And of course, when you come in as a freshman, you're nervous anyway. You don't really know who you are, or who other people are, or what those relationships are going to be. But that was always my instinct, which is why it's amazing to me as I came to know you, and the longer I knew you, to find out that you were frankly, and again, I don't want to embarrass you, but you're a thoughtful guy. Like you're a considerate guy. You got everybody's back. It took a while to realize that because you had a tough guy exterior for sure. You had this kind of Chicago guy feeling to you. But as a result, it doesn't come as a surprise to me that eventually you got involved kind of in the arts and in particular music and live music up in Winnetka. Tell me a little bit about how that happened and kind of where that all came from.
Well, music, it wasn't obvious that I was into it early when you guys first met me, but going back the old Chicago blues bars scenes, there were many a time I snuck down with a buddy of mine when we were 14, 15, hop on the L, take it all the way down to 45th, and we'd sneak over to a place called Teresa's on 47th, and a couple of white boys from the suburbs going to Chicago blues bars was unique. if you will,
Yep.
in
Yeah.
the early 80s, late 70s. So that really was the kind of start of it. I've always been into music. And up here, it was wonderful having grown up in the town when they had the first music fest, which this year will be the 10th anniversary. We were excited to go to it. It was a wonderful festival. And unfortunately, at the last day I walked out, I remember turning to a buddy of mine who grew up here too. And I'm like, this was great. I don't think it'll happen again. And he kind of looked at me and he said, why? And I said, you think about it. Every time we had something fun up here when we were growing up, the gray-haired mafia killed it. And the next year, it wasn't even the next year, it was a month or two so later, the fest went off so well that the village board was like, not only do we want it to happen and try to make this every year, but, we're going to throw in some seed money. And at that
Ah.
time, I remember reading that and going, well, shit, I got old because now we're the gray-haired mafia.
It just took time. You had to
It
get
just
in
took
there.
time. It just took time. But it's the we volunteered at the beginning. It was all volunteers, as you can well imagine, not so good putting volunteers in charge of the beer truck. And the two for you, one for me, couple for the extra friends. And yeah, it was a rather boozy couple of first years. And then as things evolved and the name started to grow, because it all started, the founder of it, Val Haller, is, she used to write for the New York Times, and she was always into music, looking for new music, and more importantly, introducing older generations to the up and coming new music, because
Hmm.
as much as the 14-year-old me would love to still sneak into the blues bars, the reality of living in the suburbs, getting older, you just don't venture into the venues where these guys are all starting. And there's great music. You want to support them. It's harder than ever to be a musician these days. Touring is just
Yeah.
brutal. And so that's why she started this fund. And so over the years, us volunteering, I think there was one year right after COVID, there was kind of a meltdown at the VIP bar, and Andrea, my wife, and I jumped in, and she was the one who organized it. Hey, listen, I was just the chimp in the back that was breaking the boxes down and pulling beers. let's
We both we
let's
both know Andrea, so that there's no
Yeah,
surprise that she was the one who was organizing things.
yeah, no shit. She had everybody lined up within 10 seconds. It was just, we were all good. But from there, the organizers came over and they're like, do you guys want to join on here? We think we see something here. And that was probably about 4 or 5 years ago. Since then, we've gotten involved not only with the Music Fest, which is just an absolute gas, but with we try to do bi-month or twice a month, what we call the chapel series, which everybody thinks is religious music, and believe me, it's anything but. It's an old church. What do we call it? The good Catholics among you guys, tell me what deconsecrated is. That what they do, maybe, or
That sounds right. That sounds right. I would not.
exorcism? Or, I don't know.
That's
Talking
different, but
about
you might have
pagan
needed
here.
that too.
Yeah. But I mean, the acoustics of the chapel are phenomenal. It's a wonderful space. It's holds a couple hundred to 300 people, and it's just I love her whole concept. Her whole concept was just come in, be present, listen to the concert, because when you do go to venues, unfortunately these days, if I don't have somebody with a freaking camera up recording the whole damn thing, right in front of my face, then I've got, a chatty people in the back who don't seem to understand that, we're here to listen to music, not what their fucking life is.
Right.
It's a therapy session, folks. Go pay your money and go do that somewhere else.
I'll have
But
Tom send you his latest blog. He just
oh
wrote about that
yes,
very thing.
spot
Yeah.
on. Absolutely spot on.
Yeah, we just went to a show that's it is a music venue, but it's also a bar. And
Yeah.
what I've seen is, and let me back up just a second to
Yeah.
get the time frame of it. When did the Chapel series start? up
Well,
in
the Chapel
whatever.
series actually predated the Music Fest, and
Okay.
Val and her husband used to, instead of being in the chapel before that became available about, I'm gonna say like 8 years ago, maybe less. They they used to have house parties. They would have 100 people over in their living room, spilling out outside, and the bands would play in the living room. And bands still do that. People don't realize it, but if you got a great
Yeah.
favorite indie band and you want them to play your house, reach out.
Yeah, well, we just talked to Bobby Bear Jr., who said that's practically his favorite way to
Yeah,
perform now
yeah,
because he doesn't need amplifiers, he doesn't need a crew, he doesn't need much
right.
setup. He walks in with his old guitar and then he'll just play kind of whatever he wants, and everybody appreciates it more.
Absolutely.
And like you said, I mean, if somebody's showing, I mean, if somebody shows up to my house and I'm having a house concert, then and if they're talking, I am going to kick them out, you know. Whereas I'm afraid
Definitely.
when you have a bar owner who needs these people to buy drinks, he's not necessarily going to do that.
Absolutely.
And I don't blame the proprietors of those places, but it does ruin the experience if you pay
Yes.
your money to see someone perform, even if you don't know who the hell they are, even if it's brand new. In fact, maybe more so because you want to actually hear what they have to say and whether they're any good or not. And
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, it's so
No.
frustrating. But the reason I asked about the time frame was because it appears to me that Val may have been, if not uh, the person who initiated this. There seems to be a wave in the Chicago area of that approach of what Chris has called it down in North Carolina. They have listening rooms.
Yep.
Um,
That's exactly it.
but we were talking before we started recording that out in Ottawa, they have taken an old Episcopalian church and turned it into a music venue.
Yep.
And there's a not-for-profit organization down there that runs that plus a larger venue. But I just saw a show in that church, and it was phenomenal. And people
It
were
is.
so intent on what was playing, and there wasn't talking and chatting or anything along those lines. It was
Right.
really a cool thing. It sounds like Winnetka may have been really at the forefront, at least here in the Chicago area.
Yeah, I think Val was early on it. You've absolutely hit upon it. There's a community growing up. I think there's a guy at St. Charles or maybe a little more rural area of Missouri who took an old barn and he's doing the same thing.
Oh, cool.
And then there's you and I were talking about there's a community in Fort Collins who not only
Mhm.
take this listening room, but take it to they've got a network of restaurants that when they hear an indie band's coming in town and playing at a venue or a specific venue or venues, they say, reach out to us and we'll feed you. We'll feed the band because I mean, there's three things these touring bands need. They need money for food, so they're not eating gas station shit. We're not
Mhm.
all in our teens anymore. They
Yep.
need money for hotels. I mean, living out of van is the van life's cool, man. But when you've got five other people in the van, it's not so cool anymore.
I
And
can't even
then
imagine.
gas money, especially these days. I mean, just getting around, it's brutal. So when they can do these, and they may play a house party and they get 750, $1,000, whatever. I mean, that cash makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
That's a difference between driving all the way through at night to get to a venue and maybe sleeping in the back of the van for a few hours in a parking lot somewhere before somebody rousts
Yeah.
you, or you know, actually getting a good night's sleep, actually being ready to play that without thinking about where the hell am I? What the hell did I just sleep in? What was that
Yeah, again, past
undisclosed
the age of
puddle?
22, that means a
Yes.
lot.
It does. It does. It's something, and there was a performer that was just here, and they were saying, for every 100 streams on Spotify, which is wonderful, they make less than a penny. So we all need to think about that. I mean,
Yeah.
the things the band need. Go to these listening rooms, support them, make sure that the money's going to them, and buy their merch, man. Buy that
Yep.
T-shirt, buy that
Yeah,
album.
that's the thing. I stopped buying T-shirts probably when I got hit my 40s because I was like, I'm too old to have a
Yeah,
concert shirt. But I started back up when I hit my 50s when I realized they make so much more off selling
yes,
a single T-shirt than, like you said, a stream or a download
right.
off of Spotify or any of the music streamers at all. So
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
I tend to not only buy them but overpay. I spent $20 on a poster the other day. I'm like, I don't have anywhere to hang this fucking poster. But
It's okay.
the,
I just think of it as a tip to the band, you know?
It's exactly the guy who sold it to me was a performer, and the way he looked at me when I handed the 20, I just said, you know what, keep that. Like you said, it's one less fucking gas station burrito and maybe an actual a
Yeah.
salad somewhere, you know.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, it
Yeah,
really is.
I bought a CD from Corey Brannon, and I didn't even have a place to play it. I don't even have a CD player anymore. I was like, as you said, it's a tip to the band,
It
Yeah.
especially
is.
since he was working his own merch table during the
Hmm.
Yeah.
opening act. So how do you, Phil, how do you get the full lineup? Like you get the big, like, how do you know which bands to reach out to? Are they reaching out to you to play? Because some of the, I mean, I've looked over, the last all the way back to like 2018. You guys have had some really impressive
Hmm.
artists and some others that, well, one weren't as well known, but have become better known. Like I saw Billy Strings was a little bit
Yep,
further down on the list. So how do you
absolutely.
get to those? How do you get the full lineup? I mean, is it recruiting or is it some combination of both?
Well, early on, it was Val and her connections.
Okay.
And she would reach out, and especially when they first started these and they were doing the home-based um, concerts. And she got lucky. I mean, sometimes she would be just people would pass her music and she would listen to it and she'd like, oh, I really like that. And it's in this day and age, it is easier to contact bands. Everybody's
Right.
got a
Yeah.
web page of Instagram, so whatever. She would reach out that way, and it was kind of organic, and it was what interests her and she thought would interest people. And then as we got into the music fest, the first few years was Val really doing it, and the word kind of spread amongst management companies and even road managers. They all talk, and it came out that, hey, listen, this thing's going on up on the North Shore of Chicago. It's kind of nice. It doesn't really it fit perfectly in the schedule of Chicago, that it didn't overlap with any major events up here musically, yet bands were coming through a lot, and they were like, I got a day, I'd love to do that fest. And then maybe I played for the smaller band Schubert's or Metro or somebody down the night before or the night after. Now we're starting to get where bands are in the summertime, they're getting on the festival circuit, if you will call it.
Hmm.
And we've got guys coming up straight from Bonnaroo. We've got guys coming up, headed off to the next one. We've got bands that are coming through now, and then they'll be coming through in early August for Lollapalooza. And then 3, 4 years ago, I think we're on the fourth year now. We started partnering with Space, which is up here in Chicago. They're the corporate parent company, 16 on Center, which is a phenomenal organization. And they have like 5 or 6 venues, from Empty Bottle down in Ukrainian Village area, which
Hmm.
is maybe holds 150 people, to the Salt Shed, which, if you drive in on 9094 through Chicago, you see the Morton Salt on the roof,
It's
which has been
huge.
there for a million years. And these guys bought it and converted it to an indoor, outdoor venue that's like 5,000 people. So they're fitting these levels, and they do festivals. And so we were able to tap into their agents, if you will, booking agents. And one of them, Jake, is just Samuels, is amazing. I mean, in the industry, he's well known. So he knows all the labels, he knows all the people, and he's the last few years, and some of those big names you've seen, Chris, that you alluded to. I mean, those were connections through Space too. Um,
Hmm.
and the nice thing for us is, after the first year of helping book, and the synergies all worked and everybody got along great, they started taking over more of the operations, which is great, because a bunch of us old farts up on ladders hanging banners at 2 in the morning is probably not a good thing. So,
So what what is the kind of the corporate relationship then between that group, which owns those venues, and the festival itself? Are they considered, and I'm probably not using the right terms, but are do they own the festival at this point, or
no, no,
is it more of a partnership?
it's a partnership. It's definitely a partnership. And Space gets out of it. People, they're a prominent sponsor. People know that they're involved in it. Very, very open, very out front. Always call out, what they've brought to this festival. and they love supporting this community-based festival. It's another way of them, it works for them too, because if they got a smaller band that's playing one of their venues before or after the festival, then the festival gives that band and hence their venue a little bit more
Promotion.
exposure. And people love it, and people, realize, and it's gotten a lot of people from here down to the Salt Shed. Salt Shed's probably one of the easier places to access from the suburbs because it's right off the interstate.
Yeah, it's a
And
little tougher to find the empty bottle, for example.
yeah, yeah.
Which, by the way, I think the last time or the very first time I saw Bobby Bear Jr., Chris, was at the empty bottle, and
There you go.
it's tiny, like
It is
it's
very
exactly what
tiny.
you would expect. Meanwhile, Space, and I don't know how long that venue's been around, but it's roughly what, 5 to 8 years, something like that. It feels
Oh,
like
the
not much.
space in Evanston?
Yeah.
I think they're over 10 years.
Is it really that
Yeah,
long?
I think so.
That's a wonderful place to see a band too. It's the same, it is that scenario where people go to hear the music. They're not there for any other reason. And
Yeah.
I saw Sun Volt play there about 2 summers ago, and that was my first visit there.
Yeah.
And other than the fact that it's practically 2 hours from my house when you include traffic, I'd be up there, like every weekend if it wasn't quite, it was just a little bit closer to our place.
Yeah. Yeah. But, the funny thing is when you really start looking around, these places are all popping up.
Yes.
Chris, you've got them listening rooms. They call them down by you. I mean, you can call them whatever you want to call them. I mean, and it could be sometimes it's just a bar in your town, and the owner is just really into music, and they want to try to position it that way a little bit. One thing we're trying to get across, Val and her husband Mark and a few other people, it just started also a foundation called the Just Listen Foundation. And its key goal is to try to provide not for every indie band, but try to provide some of these indie bands with some seed money. They're accountable for it, but it allows them to go out on tour knowing we've got this much money, let's budget it. We can get, pay for the gas, pay for the lodging, pay for the food. And then Val and the group starting to create a network around the country where, these guys know that, okay, if I'm leaving Chicago, I'm going to KC and then I'm going to Denver. I've got some communities in those locations that I can reach out to that can help us, be it a meal, be it, somebody saying, hey, we're like us, we're old folks, we got room, you guys want to crash at the house while you're in town, that's great. And it's really starting to slowly spread. And Val wants to try to, she doesn't want to run this network, but she wants to get the word out to it, and also get the word out to, some of the bar owners and some of the venues. Typically they run the shows at night. We do some concerts at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on the weekends, and those are hugely popular, especially for an audience that's looking for new music, might be a little older. But even, people in their 30s and 40s that have kids, you can go and you can catch music for an hour and a half, and you haven't blown your night. You can have plans and do stuff.
That seems like a great idea. Again, to hear new stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
we can all go to Ravinia if you want to pay the ticket price and
Sure.
see the Lyle Lovitz and the established names, the people that are roughly our age. But there are a lot of us, I think, who really do want to hear new music. And of course, you can stream it now. There's algorithms, etc. But there's nothing like going to see a band play live to get really excited about them. The more we do this podcast, the more we've been able to talk to people here in the Joliet area, the Chicagoland area. It does seem like a network is just ready to start. When you talk to Mike Trisna, who owns Chicago Street Pub here in Joliet, who's a friend of ours and former guest, and you talk to these folks out in Ottawa who run, that old church. And I met a gentleman he promotes house shows and also has other stuff that goes on in Ottawa. And it was funny because he's, I think, roughly our age as well. And he talked about the fact that they do shows that start at 5 or 6.
Yeah.
But he's also talking about kids that are in their 20s and 30s that are playing, and
right.
You're right. There's a great appeal to that for those of us who just can't stay up till 12:30 or get home at
Yeah,
1 a.m. It just
you
isn't
just
going to
you don't want
happen.
to do you don't want to do that. And I think for some of these, bar owners and some of these venues, it's an opportunity for them to tap into a different crowd that they might not necessarily get. I mean, if you're a music venue here in Chicago and smaller, and yeah, you might have a half dozen people in the bar at that time. But if you threw one extra show on,
Absolutely,
how many
absolutely.
people does it bring in? Does it bring in 50, 100 people? I mean, it doesn't take long for those numbers to make sense.
Despite Phil's villainous reputation, I think we could probably talk about this for hours with him, along with a lot of other things. But we may need to move over to the playlists.
Yeah, let's
I
do
think
that.
Phil has a fairly tight schedule, as do I, and I'm excited about this playlist. It was a cool one to do. So, do you want to,
Yeah.
Tom
Let's
or
do it.
Phil? Do you want to give a quick intro of what the topic is?
I don't know what the hell the topic is.
Perfect. You're fitting well. You're fitting in better and better with this podcast all the time.
Yeah.
So we talked a couple weeks ago, and the theme that you came up with, I'll remind you, was basically to highlight this year's Winnetka Music Festival, which is, by the way, June 19 and 2026. You
Yep.
can find their website is winnetkamusicfestival.com. Winnetka is spelled Winnetka. And the playlist was basically you had picked four songs from performers. I think you picked four performers that were playing in this year's festival.
I think so.
And
What do we
that's
have?
what we have. We've got
You
on
did.
the outline in front of me, we have the songs you picked, and we can prompt you with those. You can tell us a little bit about them if you'd like. Chris and I decided to go with Winnetka Music Festival as a theme, although I don't think we limited ourselves to this year's lineup either. I
No,
know
no.
I also went back and looked at some of the old lineups, Chris. So I think we should get a good one out of this. As we always do, though, we have our guest kick things off. Phil, the first song that you have on your list is "I'm Standing Here" by Trombone Shorty.
Trombone Shorty. You gotta love trombone. You're looking for the ultimate entertainer. I mean, certainly coming out of New Orleans. Always a big draw down in the New Orleans Jazz Heritage Festival. Trombone Shorty and his group, they just, if you're having a good time, they kick it up into euphoria. If you're having a bad day, you just catch his first song. You can't help. It's just infectious. The dude
That's awesome.
is awesome.
Yeah, I'd like to brag because I did see him both at Jazz Fest, and this
There you
is
go.
years and years ago, but also saw him then play at a club like later that night after we left the fest. And boy, you are not wrong, man. I've never seen it's weird to watch somebody playing a trombone who is leading the band, singing and dancing and everything. It's just amazing. He and his band are probably one of the most New Orleans bands I think I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
Chris, what do you got?
I have not seen Trombone Shorty, but I need to make it up to one of your festivals because I enjoyed going back and looking at all the previous lineups. Went back to the 2018 lineup and decided to go with a song from the band The Last Revel, Iron and Ore, which is probably their more popular song.
There you go.
I have not seen them live either. I think they're from Minnesota, but they're one of my favorite, sort of independent bands. They're put out some really good music, and it was cool to see them on one of your lineups.
They are a cool band. Really cool band. That's one to grab.
My first pick is also, I believe, a prior guest. No, I'm sorry. He's playing Saturday night, June 20th, and that is Ben Queller.
There you go. Yeah.
Ben Queller, I've been a fan of his for a long time. The song that I picked is called 2 a.m. And that song came from While No One Was Looking, which was the 20-year anniversary release from Bloodshot Records. So it was one of those anthologies where all the old Bloodshot bands. And that's why I started listening to Ben Queller, because as anyone who listens to the podcast knows, I'm a giant Bloodshot Records fan. That's a great song from a really cool anniversary type album. And if I can help it, I'm going to go see him play Saturday night.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah, we got you coming up Friday, aren't we? At least.
Yeah, and that's just it. We'll get to that in a second, but that's the problem is like any good music festival, you guys have salted my favorite bands on both days,
Oh
which
yeah.
I'm like, I don't know if I can make that drive 2 days in a row. I got shit to do. So anyway, that takes us to the fourth song on the list. Phil, the list you gave me had a song called "Real Love Baby" by Father John Misty.
Father John Misty, our other big headliner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do have to admit, I had not heard much by Father John Misty till he was signed on, which is kind of the cool part of this too. Even the headliners, sometimes you're like, hey, that's new. A great entertainer, a little more on the mellower vibe than trombone. But
Yes.
he's been doing this a long time and just an
Yeah.
absolute fantastic entertainer.
Yeah, that's a big name to get for any festival, I think,
Yeah,
because he's got a big following. I know he
he's got a
tours
He
big,
does.
big
every
following. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely big following, and it's going to be interesting to see how that translates. Sometimes you get some of these headliners in, and you're looking around, you're like, did a lot of new people move in the community, or do we got a lot of people from out?
All
Christopher, you
right.
have
Yep.
number five.
I do have number five. I went with the band from the 2024 festival, the Heavy Heavy. Actually, already had
Love
this
that.
song in my favorites list on YouTube Music, Because You're Mine. They're more of a retro sound, and it's not usually my type of music, but I really, really like how I love the song particularly, and I've been trying to get into more of their stuff. I don't
Yeah,
know if it's a husband wife. It's listed as a five-piece band, but there's a male female who share the singing, and I think this was a great example of their music.
yeah, they are fantastic. They are hard workers.
Are they?
If they're coming to your town, folks, try to catch the heavy heavy because they are worth it. They are wonderful, lovely people.
Very
And
cool.
it seems like every other week I'm obviously being in the printing business, printing those posters. So thank you, Tom, for supporting me. But it seems like it's like every other week that we're hearing from them, and they're off to somewhere new and they want something, and they try
Very
to
cool.
do really the poster specific for that venue or for that general region.
They're a really fun band. I really like
Yeah.
their stuff, and
Yeah.
uh, I was impressed to see them on on the list as well. That they had played there in the past. I think that's a really and that's a good song as far as that's concerned. Speaking of good songs and great fucking bands, my next pick for the playlist is a song "Texas and Tennessee" by Lucero.
There you
I
go.
I again, if you've listened to this podcast at all, you probably know that Lucero is one of my favorite bands. I love them. I've seen them play probably half a dozen times all over Chicago. Not seen them up on the North Shore yet, so this is my chance, I think. I picked, as opposed to the studio version of the album, which was on an EP, I think, called Texas and Tennessee. They performed that and put it out on an album in 2021 called Live from Red Rocks, which of
Yep.
course everybody's heard of Red Rocks.
Love the Red Rocks.
Yeah, this live version of that song is really cool, and I thought, being as that it looked like they were actually playing a festival at Red Rocks when they recorded this one, I thought it'd be a good pick for the playlist. So the number six song on the playlist is "Texas and Tennessee" by Lucero from Live from Red Rocks. Which then, Phil, your next song is I want to make sure I get the title right. Title's USA, I believe, by Petey, who is also
Petey,
playing this weekend, right? Or not? I mean, on this festival, rather.
Petey USA. I picked Petey. He is a local boy. Went to the local high
Oh,
school
cool.
here a while ago. Been out there touring and putting out music. And yeah, Petey's an up and coming guy that's really starting to catch on. Just kind of love his vibe, and got to give plug to the local guys when they're on
Absolutely,
this.
yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
That's
that's
cool.
cool. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. I like I like the past stuff, but I went in to one of the current artists, Grace Potter, and a new release of her, Something That I Want, and there's an acoustic version, which is great. She did an awesome song over COVID. Just seemed a little too downbeat for this playlist, but that's when I first discovered her. I would love to see her live. I really like her music.
And for my final pick, I also picked a song or a performer from this year's Winnetka Music Festival, Jonah Kagan.
Okay.
I picked the song "God Needs the Devil," which came out as a single in 2024. Chris will really, really, I think, enjoy this performer if he doesn't already know about him because he's got a very Quiet Hollers vibe. Quiet Hollers is a
Yeah.
band that Chris has. I want to say that
He's Friday night.
he's Friday night, so
Yeah.
it makes me lean towards Friday night because big
You got two
Trombone
of them.
Shorty fan, big Lucero fan. I'd love to see Jonah Kagan perform. So as good as the performers look to be on Saturday, I have a feeling I'm going to end up making the trip on Friday as opposed to Saturday. But that's my final pick for the playlist, which takes us then to Phil, the finale, the final song for the playlist, which is Where the Ocean Starts by Midnight Canyon.
Midnight Canyon, man. I love this band. Another guy that came out of a local, or neighboring, I should say, community, Barrington. He's got this band cranked. They've played a couple of times at the Chapel series. Most recently, we had them just a few months ago. The first time they played, we decided at the spur of the moment to put together a show. I was going to say two or three, I think it was 2 years ago, right after Thanksgiving. You got all this family and usually people are looking for something to do. Um, you know, maybe not interact with each other for an hour because they've been with each other for 3 days.
Yeah, I can relate.
So we had a Saturday show. They had such a following, and we had such a reaction to announcing this that we actually had to bump it from 1 shows to 3 shows.
Wow.
We had 3 shows on that Saturday after Thanksgiving with Midnight Canyon. They probably brought in close to 600 people. It was insane. These guys are phenomenal. You just love them. They're out, they're moving around, touring around. There's a lot of guys that play in different bands that are in Midnight Canyon. But yeah, these guys I highly recommend. Put them on your playlist. Have a listen to them. There's the hook is there. Once you listen, you're like, I can't place my finger on it perfectly what it is about them, but damn, I love listening to them.
And that's another Friday night band. I think you just pushed me over the edge with that one.
Yeah, that one's going to be opening, so you better get your butt up here early.
Yeah, I have to get there early. That's awesome.
Well, and if Phil's recommending it, I listen to it. I don't usually listen to what Tom recommends. So
right. Although I'm telling you,
Be careful.
if you have not listened to Jonah Kagan, which you really have to, because like I said, very Quiet Hollers to me, very very cool kind of.
Yeah.
I wish I could figure out the right adjective to describe their music, but it's very.
He's the one my youngest son is leaving work early for. Oop. Oh, don't say
that.
Yeah, that'll be much later.
That's the one he wants to catch.
He wants to see him. That's awesome.
Well, I actually had a song pick for him, and then Tom, you beat me to the playlist, and then I had a song from Alejandro Escovedo, and then Tom may choose that later in the episode. So you've had some fantastic artists
really
up there in Winnetka. It's
really,
cool.
really amazing. Yeah, great artists. It's been wonderful. Whatever community you're passing through town, you see it, your local community, the community next to it. I just encourage people, go to this, catch music. You never know what you're going to do. And hey, we'll end it on this idea that, years ago, Val had this little guy who played an acoustic guitar and, a little quirky. But as soon as he started playing, the room you could have heard a needle drop. It was dead silent. Look at where Billy Strings is now, playing sold out United Center. So that's the beauty of this thing is you hear different music, you catch different music. And, some days you're like, I caught that dude when he played.
That's an awesome feeling for sure. So this playlist will be up on all the streamers. You can find it on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, etc. We'll also put a link on our website so that you can find this playlist from artists that have all played or will be playing the Winnetka Music Festival. Phil, I cannot thank you enough for showing up. It was really
thank you guys.
I was a little surprised that you had gotten into live music and what you were doing up with the music festival. But let's face it, you've been surprising us all along. So I guess I should have known better.
Hey, the fact I graduated from WashU was a surprise to many people, probably not my parents most of all. So,
It wasn't as big of a surprise to me because one of my favorite moments with Phil, and I won't tell the story now because I don't want to embarrass him,
ah,
involved music at Walk In Lay Down at Wild, where Phil managed to get us up sitting on the wall right in front of
Allman
the
Brothers.
band. And it was through a little bit of a trickery. And I was so nervous. Phil knew I was a little wuss. He's like, dude, just do this. And we got to sit up there. So he was all into that band. He found a way to get up in the front row, and I got to sit there with him. So I'm not all that surprised that Phil
Yeah, there you
ended
go.
up in
There's the
music.
There
hint.
you are. There you are. And you caught the brothers probably at the last time
Yep.
before, right at the end.
I know, man. So, well,
That's
thank you, Phil. It's been awesome seeing you again. And it's
It's
been
great
way
to
too
see you
long, brother.
guys.
Yep.
You guys are doing a great job, and I look
Thanks,
forward to
man.
hearing all the future podcasts.
All right. Big thanks again to Phil. Looking forward to that big musical festival up in Winnetka. And until then, though, we're going to go with the Loft of Wisdom.
You better open up your eyes, babe, because fools do get wise.
Loft of Wisdom are quotes. We like to pick quotes. We like to put quotes on our website. We like to say quotes. We like to quote quotes. It's quotes.
Let's quote the shit out of this thing.
Ready? Because I got one.
All right, go ahead.
I picked a quote from Drive By Truckers from the song Outfit from Decoration Day. And for the life of me, I don't remember why I picked it for this episode, but I love the song. I love the quote. It's one of my favorite ever Drive By Truckers lines from Patterson Hood. And it is, so don't let them take who you are, boy, and don't try to be who you ain't. And don't let me catch you in Kendale with a bucket of wealthy man's paint.
It's awesome. It's one of my favorite set of lyrics.
That's a great song. It's a
Yep.
great Drive By Truckers song. Technically, it's a great Jason Isbell song because I said Patterson Hood, but actually Jason Isbell wrote that song.
I know.
I don't know how it relates to music festivals other than Drive By Truckers plays them, but that's my quote.
Well, it's probably one of the best bands we've ever seen at a music festival. We saw them at
Yeah.
Austin City Limits.
For sure.
All right, I went also with song lyrics. One of my favorite bands, I've never seen them live. I want to. I hear they're fantastic live, is Roger Clyne and the Peacemakers. On their 2000 album called Real, spelled R-E-A-L, to Real, R-E-E-L, which I think is a great name for a live album. They did a song called Tell Your Mama, and these are my favorite lyrics. These are the ones going up on the loft. Tell your mama your daddy done quit his drinking. Tell your mama your daddy done found the Lord. Tell your mama your daddy done quit his cussing, his fighting, his carrying on. But don't you tell your mama, goddamn, your daddy's bored. So
That's very good. And from a live album, so at least that makes sense in relation to
yes,
an episode about a music festival.
yeah.
So
But either way, good quotes.
I think so. I think so. Like I said, we love quotes. We love to quote quotes.
And that'll take us to post facto.
It's a mistake. It's a mistake.
Post facto is where Tom and I either correct mistakes from previous episodes, add additional details, or just give an update on something that we talked about in a previous episode, usually. What you got? Because I don't hardly ever have post factos.
Yeah, I've got one. It doesn't really have anything to do with something we talked about previously, but I just feel like I need to put the word out. Last weekend, my kids, my boys, and my wife convinced me to go see the movie Backrooms at the theater. It's a new horror flick from a kid who's like 19 or 20 years old that started doing these little shorts on TikTok, I guess, or maybe Instagram. Anyway, he did like a whole series of extremely short films, which the concept was purchased by A24, which is becoming a very kind of powerful and new movie production house. So A24 put out this film that this kid directed called Backrooms. and it scared the living shit out of me. I went against my normal, like my gut instinct was, don't go see this movie, man. Don't go see it. You're going to get scared. And then I read an article that said, it's not as scary as The Shining. It's more like Get Out, which I didn't see in the theater, but then saw later and thought, it's not so bad. They fucking lied to me, man. It scared the living shit out of me. I couldn't even sleep that night. I was so scared. So if you like horror movies, it's creepy as hell. And it's like this never-ending maze of an office building that this guy is walking through, but everything's just a little weird and a little off kilter. But there's jump scares. There's everything I hate about horror movies in this. And I just thought I should put up a warning flag for those of you who might get sucked into it like I did.
I can't believe you actually agreed to go to horror movie, dude.
I know.
Well, when it comes to horror movies.
That's because they told me it wasn't really a horror movie, and they lied. All of them, all of the people that convinced me lied.
Yeah, that's okay. It just shows what your family thinks of you.
Yeah, it's true. I think that I'm wondering if they had a camera on me while we were watching the movie, because I watched most of it through my fingers.
That'll probably get more watches than our episode if they put that out on the internet, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, maybe. All right, next up we have staff picks.
Just around the corner from you.
Yep, staff picks is where Tom and I make recommendations of new stuff, music, books, movies, probably not the movie he just talked about, TV shows, anything new, recently released or new to us. And I have one that is new and highlights one that was new to us at one previous time. I went with a new song by Steven Wilson Jr., who is getting pretty big, it seems like to me. He's I know he did the national anthem for some big sporting event, and I think he was recommended to you by your brother, and you recommended a relatively, older album, just that Steven Wilson Jr. was new to you. And I gotta say that I agree with the recommendation. His new song, Preacher's Kid, it just rocks, and it's great. It's talking about the hypocrisy of religion in a lot of ways, and the way people, are, especially in today's society, I think, much more focused on themselves, but will pretend to be, people of the Lord. My favorite line is, "A preacher's kid don't give a damn about you or Jesus." It's a great song, and it rocks. It's not my usual slow ass stuff that I know everyone loves so much.
Yeah, I saw that song came out. I haven't listened to it yet, and I do really like him. It was a great recommendation. I believe you're right. I believe my brother's the one who originally turned me on to him, and I'd like to hear how he handles a more rockin' song too, because most of the stuff of his I really like have been kind of slower, ballady kind of things. My staff pick, and this is the reason that I did the post facto with Backrooms, is the movie that I wanted to see this past weekend is Power Ballad, which was written and directed by John Carney, who is the same guy who did Sing Street. He did Once. He is really, really, I love his stuff, but he's got a niche, I think, or a niche that he writes. Most of his movies have to do with music, making music, how music brings people together or can, improve people's lives. This one stars Paul Rudd and Nick Jonas. I can't say I'm a big Nick Jonas fan, but I am a big Paul Rudd fan. And it seems to be, based upon the trailers, about a guy who's a songwriter who's kind of just traipsing along, playing in a wedding band. Never hit it big, never made it big, but he wrote a song that Nick Jonas somehow got a hold of and turned into a mega hit. I don't know anything more about it other than what I've seen in the trailer. I've been looking forward to this movie coming out for the last couple months when I first saw the trailer to the film. And it came out on June 6th, which is only just a week or so prior to us recording this. By the time you hear it, it will have been out for a while. And I really wish I had gone to see that instead of Backrooms.
Yeah, I think I'd rather see something called Power Ballads involving Paul Rudd and even Nick Jonas. I like Nick Jonas more as an actor than as a singer. So
yeah, actually, I would have to agree with that. I think he's been good in the few things I've seen him in. But it looks like a great John Carney film. And if you like his stuff, as I really, really do, then I think it's going to be good. And I will report back in a future episode.
A future post facto.
Exactly. Finally, as segments go for this episode, we have playlist picks. Every episode, Chris and I like to each choose a song. We add it to our season-long playlist, and we try as best we can to pick a song that we feel relates to the guest or the theme or something else about this particular episode. What is your pick for our playlist this week?
Well, I think I said it earlier, and I'm kind of pissed at you, Tom. You took my choice. I was up in the special playlist we did with Phil, and I was going to choose an awesome song by Alejandro Escovedo, Castanets, which is another rocking song. I must be in a pretty good mood this week, which there's no reason for. But it was, and then I got down to the playlist picks, and I'm like, son of a bitch, Tom stole my thunder. But I went back and I looked at previous lineups of the Winnetka Music Festival, and I saw that the Revivalists were there one year. I think 2023. I'd have to double check my math, but so I went ahead and went with their song, which is one of my favorites. Keep Going typifies their style. I haven't liked as much of their stuff lately. I may need to go back to them, but this song is one of my all-time favorites. It has an awesome music video. I think I actually saw the video first, and I watched it like 3 or 4 times in a row. They're a good band. This is a really great song, and this is to honor the music festival that Phil and Andrea are involved with, and you actually get to go to.
Yep. And by the way, you didn't say you were upset with me, but I knew. I knew. Phil probably didn't know, but I could tell. And I did pick an Alejandro Escovedo song. He has performed at the Winnetka Music Festival in the past. I chose a song from More Miles Than Money. Actually, the full title is More Miles Than Money Live 1994 to 1996. Obviously, it is a live album, and he is a fantastic live act. I chose the song Broken Bottle. He is amazing. Alejandro has this ability to just rock the hell out of songs. And when he's out there with a full band, when you see him live, it's just so much fun. But then he can also write and sing these beautiful, very delicate songs. And that's how I look at Broken Bottle. It's one of those that he would play, he'd play a raucous, hard rocking song, and then he would bring the tone down for something like Broken Bottle, and it would just make the whole experience that much better just to hear his range and what he can do, both in terms of the songs he writes and the way he performs them. And this live album, More Miles Than Money, is really a great live album in general, and just a great, I think, peek into what it would be like and what it is like if you go to see him play live. So that'll be the next song on the season 12 playlist, which you can find everywhere you stream your music.
Yeah, it's a great choice, and I couldn't agree more. I saw Alejandro Escovedo in a listening room, and he just blew the place apart. He's fantastic. But when he does these more heartfelt songs, I mean, he's got such an amazing voice. He's a great songwriter.
He sure as hell is.
We want to thank Phil Shelton again for joining us.
Well, a little peek behind the curtain. We did rearrange our production schedule a bit to make sure that this episode came out in time for you to still go see and buy tickets for the Winnetka Music Festival. It is their 10th anniversary. It is going to be in Winnetka, Illinois on June 19th and 20th. If you look at the past lineups, as Chris and I did to prepare for this, it's just a great, great festival. And the Village of Winnetka is, it's a North Shore of Chicago type of village. It's very quaint. It's very nice. And as I understand it, the location, the actual venue where everybody plays is really cool. So this year's lineup looks fantastic. And I'm going to do everything I can to try to get up there for that Friday show. One of the nice things is Lucero's like third or fourth build, which means that theoretically I could go up and watch them in the afternoon. I could be home by 10 o'clock. So that's my plan.
The mantra of a 60-year-old man who likes to go to concerts.
Exactly. God bless people like Phil and the folks out in Ottawa, because they have early shows.
Yeah. All right. Well, third song in is recorded in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, Joliet, Illinois, and Winnetka, Illinois.
You can email us your questions, your comments, and your suggestions to thirdsongin@gmail.com.
Check out our website, thirdsonginpodcast.com. All kinds of information on there, including links to our blogs, to our episodes. And we always have an episode spotlight, and I have a feeling we'll choose a live performance from one of the bands that'll be up at Winnetka.
Yep. Please follow us wherever you listen to your podcast. Rate and review us. Give us all your fucking stars. I want to stuff my pockets full of stars. That's my goal. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Apple Podcast. You can find us on Amazon Music, YouTube Music, and Pandora. And we're even on Overcast, whatever the hell that is.
Well, if you're not sure, just shove it in your pockets along with all the stars.
All the stars. I won't have room for Overcast, baby. I'm going to have a pocket full of stars.
Oh, shit. I don't know why I laugh at you so much.
Well, I think I know. It's laughable. That's why.
Tom and I also put out playlists associated with Third Song In. Of course, we have the season-long playlist. We just added 2 more songs. And the special playlist, we just did a great one with Phil, highlighting some of the musicians who have played or will be playing at the Winnetka Music Festival. Check those out on all the streaming services. They're out there. Share them, like them, do whatever you can to let people know about them.
Also, please search for us on social media. We have a Facebook page, Blue Sky, Instagram. We like to post stuff about our show, but more importantly, we like to post links and information like dates and releases for all of our past and future guests. Follow us on all of those social media outlets, please.
And you can also, if you're into it, read our blogs. They're on our website. They're also on Substack. The nice thing about Substack is you can subscribe to it and get our blogs in your inbox every Friday morning. Tom and I take turns. I think we're putting out some pretty entertaining stuff and sometimes relevant stuff.
Please tune in next week when Third Song In gets their very first Olympic athlete. Tune in to hear our interview of Amy Gamble, Olympian, resilience coach, and former classmate of one of your favorite podcasters.
Not your very favorite. Your second.
Just one. He's in the top 2 of your favorite podcasters. You've been listening to Third Song In with Chris Derrickson and Tom Polachek. Thanks for listening. I remember saying we should prepare and like you saying, yeah, it's a good idea. And I just looked at the outline. I'm like, I didn't do dick.
Don't know if I told you I'm out. I'm traveling Thursday, Friday, and I'm back on Monday. So I'm also gone on Saturday and Sunday, but it doesn't affect
anything cool or
no.